Almost done. Just two more tasks to go. First one is really important functionality in Xilo. It's called, or they are called calculations. And we use calculations for example, imagine that you have invoice object, and within those requests, you can calculate from price without tax or VAT, and with object line VAT or tax, you can calculate total value. Yeah, it's pretty simple. One object line plus first object line plus second object line. We are now going to set few calculations that help us. First one will be just an ordinary server calculation, client calculation, and so on. But for us are important two of them. First one, we would like to calculate even item total value. If you remember on subgrid, we have just a one object line that there is missing calculation. So we need to add the calculation there. And it will be simple calculation, calculate price times quantity, nothing else. Yeah. And the second one, we will use the result of the calculation to display some warning. And the calculation will be check if we have prepared everything for, we have prepared all items for our even request. Yeah. So let's open add calculations to even request. So first we will go through really simple calculations and then we extend the knowledge and so on. So let's go through the first one, set the server calculation. Let's go to administration, into objects, into even request, into lines, and in lines we add a new section called calculations, and let's add there text box, one line, call it title server and save. We have new object line and all calculations are grouped by template. Yeah, so you can have more templates, and in each template you can have one calculation, different one actually. So we have just one template, so we need to add a new template line. And here you can see actually template grouped all behaviors of object lines, like validation, calculation, and so on. And here in object template line, we need to add server calculation. We have two types of calculation actually, server and client. Server is something that is executed within saving the request on the server or sending in the workflow. Yeah, so whenever you click on workflow or click on small diskette icon at the top, it will save the request and then calculate the values. Then we have client calculations, and they are executed immediately when something is filled. For example, we will have calculation that when I start type into title object line, it will automatically copy to another object line. But first, let's do the simplest one. For title server, add server calculation type and choose server string calculation. Yeah. Here into calculation, add just apostrophes, and into that just here is some title, something like that, and that's it, nothing else. Let's go now to user environment, into even request, and let's add a new one, even request. Let's type some title, some title, for example. Let's choose a client. Choose choose a start date and date. Description 1, 2, 3. Here we go. And we have here server calculation. You can see that it's not in it. It didn't calculate yet. But when I click on Save button or Save Diskette button, it saves the request, and when I open the request, you can see that it calculates the value. Title, server, yeah. Here is some title. Okay, that was the first calculation. The second calculation is the client calculation, and so we add a new text box into our calculations. Let's call it title client, something like that. Make it active and add a new template line for this particular object line. And choose client calculation, for example, client string. And here you can see, you will see actually that we add an ID 8. That means it reference to our title. Yeah, so whenever I start to type title, it will automatically fill the title client because we have set the calculation here. The very same thing we can add to title server as well, and you will see the difference. Here we go. So ID 8 as a title for server string calculation. Let's try. Okay, let's try it in our sum title. Or better will be add a new request. It's easier to see the difference. All right, we have title server and title client. Whenever I start to type something like, I don't know, birthday party. There's wrong birthday. There we go. Birthday party. You can see that title client already filled. It's anytime that I change the title, it's automatically changed the title client. Yeah, because of that calculation. I can set this one, and this one, and so on. And title server is still unfilled. And I save the request. Now it was the very moment that server calculation was executed. I can see that here. So it's just two ways how to calculate something. Server or two methods, server and client. We recommend to set as much server calculation as it is possible. Yeah, we have tons of client calculation as well, but it's really demanding on a client side. Yeah, be careful about that. All right, and now we create something that we add or adjust the calculation. We literally concatenate title and client ID. So let's go here, add a new text box line, call it title and client ID, something like that. And we add here, yeah, for example, server calculation. So server calculation, server string. And we would like to concatenate title and client, actual client ID. It's pretty simple. You just need to type ID 8, and you can immediately, after that, type ID 16. You could actually. But we would like to have some space or some slash symbol inside. So we add, there's a syntax. Yeah? Whenever you have a server string calculation, you can set like ID8 plus apostrophes, something in it, like slash with space and so on. So it means get a value ID8, which is title, get a value ID16, which is client. I can tell you that it gets the key in the combo box. It means client ID, and use the small symbols inside the apostrophes to divide those two strings. Yeah. All right, let's check it. We can just refresh the request, which is exist. And now we have set title and client. When you save the request, it will automatically get you title. Then it fills you 3 symbols like space, slash, space, and then Apple, which is client ID. Maybe it's really handy to highlight one thing that server and client calculation. Client calculation is calculated just once that user fills something in it. Yeah. So when I fill something other, it will automatically recalculate it. But server calculations are always calculated when you click on save or workflow. So it means even in different steps, it's calculated there. Yeah. Okay, so we have some concatenate calculation. Here we go. We concatenate title and client ID. The calculation for object. Okay. Now we have required items. In that required items, let's go to subgrid. Sorry. And into lines. Sorry. And in lines, we need to calculate total value. We calculate it from price and quantity. We use a server calculation, so let's click on title and create a template line. And here we use server calculation and add or big server math. Okay, here we go. Now let's add a format of that calculation, and it will be ID6 times, like a small star, ID7. Yeah, and it will automatically calculate ID6, which is here it's price, and ID7 it's quantity. And yeah, it's stored there. Here we go. So let's take a look at it. Not here. Let's choose different one. For example, team building. We have already 2 items here. We just need to set. You can recalculate. That's upgrade. Or you just need to click on save. And when you look inside, yeah, we already filled the total. Then, right. For example, here, let's add 2 new requests. Catering, rhythm, 2 times, save. And you can see that it automatically totaled the value. Yeah. And one more thing. Ten times we paintball our supervisor. Here we go. And you can see the total value is 250. So it works. And now we add a few more calculations. We have calculations for object. You can see them on forum. We have server and client, string, server and client calculations. Server calculations, there are tons of them. You can see all of them here. And client, we have small value or small amount of calculations. So we rather use server calculations. And then we have special calculations for subgrid as well. All calculations that are on object and has connection or are related to subgrid as prefix sub, as you can see here. Yeah? We would like to get a new, we would like to have a new calculation on our object event request. Let's add a new object line underneath and add amount of items object line, and its number. And here we would like to calculate how many items we have in our subgrid. So we need to add a new template line, and in forum or within forum you can see that we have server sub count, and it's literally calculate how many lines is in subgrid. So we need to provide just one syntax, one ID in syntax, and its ID of subgrid. So let's go here and choose server sub count here, and here just type ID 20 because ID 20 is ID of our subgrid. Yeah? Let's go now to our request. Let's click on save. And in the user environment, in the particular request, you can see how the amount of items in subgrid. Yeah, that's it. And we would like to add one more simple thing or simple calculation. And the calculation is that according to items in required items, we are going to summarize how many items are prepared or not. Alright, so add a new one. I just click here to see the title, number of missing items. Here we go. So in administration tools, add a new number. Call it add number of missing items. Save it. And we need actually one more calculation here. And number of missing items. We need amount of items that contains that are not prepared. So first, what we need to do is choose the proper calculation. For example, it should be something with sub prefix, and it should be sub count conditional. You can see the syntax is a little bit more complex, and we will use sub count conditional. Okay, let's go to administration, add a new template for our number of missing item, and it was sub count conditional. Here we go. First ID is ID of subgrid, so ID 20. Then it's ID ZZZ, and that is subgrid line used for condition conversion. So we literally compare if there is in combo box prepared or not prepared, because each calculation takes the key, the value. We just need to know which value is prepared and which value is not prepared. If you remember, let's go to administration, to reference, and here item status has its own values. We add it manually. So if it is 2, it's not prepared. That's what we needed. So remember number 2. Then go to subgrade, and in required item subgrade and lines, we need to know that status is ID 5. Yeah. Perfect. And now let's go to objects, into event requests, into lines, and here number of missing items. So the second one was ID of object line in subgrid. So ID 5, and the last parameter was compare value, okay, and it was number 2. It means it calculates amount of items that have in ID 5 object line, which is status number 2. Yeah, so let's try it. Here it should be 2 of them, right? So click on save. It will automatically refresh you object, and you can see number of missing items is 2. Let's add a new. We have here 2 of them, 2 new requests. So we add a new catering, for example. It will be 1, and it will be already prepared. And the second one will be paintball your supervisor, and it will be 50 times, and it will be not prepared. Here we go. And now when we save the request, you can see that we have amount of items, those are 2, and number of missing items is just a 1. It means 1 is not prepared. Here